We're here. We're live and we're here. Welcome to the show. It's going to be slightly different than usual, but it's going to be a regular show. So here is your intro, people.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm one of your hosts, Stacey Gotsulias. Game off. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with your friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go, now free on Google Play or in the App Store. Game on. With me as usual is my co-host Brian McKeon. Brian, welcome to the world of live podcasting.
Wow. I'm on and it's an honor to be here. Really. I can't believe it. What a game for the Yankees, right? I mean, sticking it to the Astros, giving them exactly what they deserve.
Yeah, exactly what they deserve. Yes, I agree with this. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. You can subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live, like this one. Coming up, what to look forward to in the final game against the Astros. We're going to give you some updates about rehab and injury updates concerning Oswaldo, Peraza, Tommy Kahnle, DJ LeMahieu. But first, that game against the Astros. Lovely. It was lovely.
My first game of the year, the first time I've been to the stadium this year, out in the bleachers. Decent sized crowd for a Wednesday night, but not as packed as it would have been for a weekend game. You got exactly what you could have possibly wanted out of Carlos Rodon. He looked like your ace. He looked like a top tier pitcher in the league, and he really shut them down. Now, I don't know how much confidence you want to have because Houston is so bad, but it kind of skews your mind, right? Because they've been so good over the last few years that you think of them as this really, really good team and this really, really dominant team. Then how could you stop them? And they're just simply not a good baseball team this year. And it's hard. It's hard to say, and it's weird to say. They're not a good baseball team this year. It's great to say.
It still doesn't feel right. It feels like this is like they're faking us out in a way and making us think that they're like this wounded animal that's going to suddenly surprise us. And, you know, I don't feel comfortable when the Yankees are playing them ever. And the fact that the Yankees have beaten them so many times in a row in the regular season, dating back to last season, is just amazing to me.
It does feel like the Yankees still step their game up to play Houston. They still know when they're playing Houston and they're ready for the game. So I do understand that. But for some reason, when you watch these games and it seems like Houston's not competitive with them, which is really weird to say because it's now, what is it, 9 in a row for the Yankees over Houston. This is not dating back. This is dating back to now last year that they've won these games. And I will say this, I feel like everybody around baseball, not just Yankee fans, but everybody around there is waiting for them to hit their stride.
Yeah.
You're waiting for Houston to pull off 12 in a row. Or to pull up. That's what I'm waiting for. I just don't know if we're getting that because Verlander looked terrible last night. Arrighetti is a rookie who, I mean, just clearly wasn't able to pitch in this game because Houston got off to an early 1-0 lead and Rodon gets up a first inning home run. And I think the feeling was like, oh, no, here we go. Like Rodon, the first inning yips. He was excellent after that. He was excellent. And Arrighetti immediately in the first inning gives it right back. So, again, I'm hesitant to sit here and say that the Astros are a bad baseball team and this Astros team is, not going to make the playoffs or anything because it's so damn early. But, I mean, as Yogi said, it is getting late early for them. It really is. Yeah,
it feels like they could possibly go on one of those runs like Washington did in 2019 when they were 18-31 and they went on to do what they did. Like Philly a couple seasons ago also they weren't that great. And then they just went on a run for 75% of the season. So I feel
it's not unheard of.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened before, but let's just hope it doesn't. I want them to finally be on the downswing. I'm just bored of them now.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be weird to see them not in the playoffs. How many ALCSs they've been to in a row where they've just dominated the American League. And if you're a Yankee fan, you got to look at this as a positive. This is your opening. right? Like if they're not going to make it and they're your classic, I think most Yankee fans still really, really, really want the year that they beat Houston in the postseason because it would feel so gratifying. But I don't care if they want to win a pennant. They haven't won a pennant since 2009. This might be your window this year. It really might be. Can we mention too the home run balls were out tonight. They were. I mean, all three of your major home run hitters hit home runs tonight. I don't know which, and I'm going to ask this to my fan question of the first segment that I've gotten myself into. Which home run was the most impressive to you? Right. And I don't know if the Judge one was as impressive. It was opposite field, but is it that impressive? Is it Soto going opposite field to the left field gap, the deepest part of the ballpark, absolutely crushing a ball on the upper outside part of the plate? Or is it Stanton hitting a ball 197 miles an hour? Because that ball that Stanton hit was absolutely rifled. I think it was 119 miles an hour, which is the hardest hit ball this season. I mean, that ball was scorched. For me, it's the Soto homer, but I'd like to hear what you have to say, Stacey.
I think it's the Soto homer. But if the Soto homer didn't happen, it would be Stanton's homer because that thing was it got out in a hurry. You don't see people hitting line drives into the second deck in left field. And didn't I joke on yesterday's show? I said, thank God he hit it into the bullpen because he hit it 118 miles an hour in Tuesday night's game. And I thought, at least no one was there. And then on Wednesday, he hits it into the stands in left field. And my first thought was, oh God, I hope no one got hit with it because it got out of the park so quickly. And again, it was a line drive to the second deck. I mean, that's insane. Like, it really is. Like, I still can't believe it. Even being there, I was in that side of the bleachers and just seeing that ball it was beautiful. But I still think it was Soto's. You're talking about upper outside part of the plate to drive a ball like that to the left field gap, which is the deepest part of Yankee Stadium. And that is just, the level of power, the patience, and he had great at-bats tonight. Judge had a terrific night with a home run and 2 doubles. Again, we've said it a bunch of times, and we do get these games here and there. This is what this team is. This is what the team is designed to do. This is what it's supposed to look like. And when you get nights like this, it's very gratifying and it feels very good and you love watching it. But I still do have the concerns that we do get the nights where they get shut out. Right. So it is a work in progress, but everything you could have possibly wanted out of the game tonight. But I feel like Judge is getting there now. He's had a few games now where he's looking better and he's looking more like himself and hitting doubles and hitting home runs. And this is the first time that Judge, Soto, and Stanton homered in the same game. The Yankees are now 34-4 when Judge and Stanton homer in the same game. And Stanton has 7 home runs over 118 miles per hour since they started keeping that stat. The rest of Major League Baseball has 6 combined.
I mean, he is just a mammoth of a human being. He's so strong. It's crazy. And I think we've said this all year. If he gives you what he's giving you all year, I absolutely set up for that. Right now, he's on pace for 40-something home runs, 90 RBIs. And if he hits 240, so be it. I am totally in favor of that. If he can do this all year, I'm totally in favor of it. And if that's what he's going to do all year, run your 2 miles an hour to first base. I don't care. I don't need you to run out balls, that are ground balls to second base.
All right, I'm looking at some of the comments. Okay. Some are saying all 3 were impressive. Some say Stanton. Some say Soto. So it's all poor Judge, but
it wasn't Judge's. We've seen Judge hit that home run 1,000 times, but it's definitely between the Stanton and the Soto one. It's really whichever one you prefer. The Stanton one, just to me, is sheer strength to just slam it out of there at 120 miles an hour. But the Soto one is also technically baseball terms. The Soto one is just wild. That ball went like 440 feet to the to the other way. I mean, there's not a lot of hitters in baseball that can do that.
Right. That is very true. Well, segment 2, we were going to do injury updates and rehab updates, but we're going to continue talking about the game because we have to talk about the rest of the pitching too. But before we do that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday if you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get texts from us. There's a 14-day free trial. It's a lot of fun. So coming up next, we're going to discuss how the bullpen did, and we're going to tell you what's going on with Peraza, Kahnle, and LeMahieu. Okay, Mother's Day is right around the corner. If you're scratching your head about what to get for the woman you love the most in the world, fret not. DoorDash is here to save the day. The best thing about this is if you somehow forget until the last minute, or you're just stuck and can't think of a gift to get your mom, you can order flowers for her from DoorDash on Mother's Day, and they'll get delivered to her. How cool is that? And you can also add other stuff to the order. You can pair those flowers with a gift card to a favorite bookstore, to a coffee shop, or whatever she likes. Get her makeup, get her perfume. Perfume's a good Mother's Day gift, and you could do that on DoorDash as well. So why wait? Order now and let DoorDash take care of everything you need to make this Mother's Day truly special. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on flowers, convenience, groceries, or retail. That's Locked On MLB. So order now and make this Mother's Day one for the books. DoorDash, delivering joy one doorstep at a time, and terms apply. And Locked On Yankees is also sponsored by my favorite new mobile game, Monopoly Go. We've all been there as a player or a fan. It's the bottom of the ninth. Your team is down to their last strike. It's not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure how you or your team are going to pull out a win. And that's when you dig deep, you lift your head up, you say to yourself, time to get back in the game and pull off some bank heists and take as much of my friends' money as I possibly can. The smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go is here for you. Lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. So it's basically the Monopoly you love, but it's on your phone and you can play it anytime. And it has a ton of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. And there's so much to do. You have different Monopoly boards to play on. You can make your friends bankrupt. You can smash their landmarks with a wrecking ball. You can charge them rent like it's regular Monopoly. You can even work with your friends to crack open the community chests, and in tournaments you get extra rewards and you climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or in Google Play. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the noise. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So let's talk about this amazing bullpen, shall we? Because they continued their awesome ways. Now, Victor Gonzalez did give up a home run to Pena, and it was the first
finally
run. Yeah, it was the first earned run that they gave up in, I think it was over 27 innings. So good job by the bullpen. That's a long stretch to not give up.
It was nice while it lasted.
Yeah. And this is good news too. I believe it was James Smythe of the Yes Network. He's one of the researchers for Yes. Caleb Ferguson retired Altuve and Tucker to end the seventh. And in his first 9 games, he had a 6.23 ERA. And the slugging percentage against him was .486. His last 7 games, a 0.0 ERA and a 118 slugging percentage. Also, 33.3% ground ball rate in those first 9 games. And now it's up to 50%. So I said Caleb Ferguson was starting to look better, and he's starting to look better.
He is starting to turn it around, and this bullpen just continues to be the most consistent bullpen in all of baseball and the best bullpen in all of baseball. They are so deep, so consistent. They didn't have to use any of their top tier pitchers in this game. They really didn't. I mean, I guess you can talk about Hamilton late because they just wanted to get him some work. Yeah. They didn't use any of their top tier arms in this game. That's what you want to see. You need games like that in the middle of the season. You need games like that against teams that are good teams that are gonna try and stretch you out. So this bullpen has done more than I think any fan expected, because that was a question that a lot of fans had coming into the season is, are the Yankees going to be able to have the same strength out of their bullpen? Is this bullpen going to be, is it complete? Because people felt like they didn't know a lot of the names Cashman brought in. They didn't know what he was doing in the offseason. And I feel like we've had a lot of off seasons like that, where he brings in guys that you don't know who these guys are, and you don't know what their arms are doing. And then all of a sudden you get stories like the getting out of this year where you're not getting a lot of runs given up. You're getting the Clay Holmes of the bullpen who don't give up anything. So from what you're seeing so far, again, this looks like one of the more complete teams in all of baseball. When they're clicking, when the offense looks like it looks, when you have the ability to have a pitcher like Rodon give you and remember, Rodon is your number 2. If he's going to give you performances like that as your number 2, and you have the depth in your starting pitching staff, the way the bullpen looks with the ability to add pieces at the deadline, and this offense, I mean, if it clicks like this, it's a really scary team.
Yep. One more stat before we move on from tonight's game. Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, and Alex Bregman through 2 games this series, 1 for 22.
That's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah. Hate to see
that. Moving on to bullpen. Speaking of bullpen, Tommy Kahnle started his rehab in Tampa with the Tarpons. He pitched the first inning for them through 12 pitches. He hit 95.5 on the gun, struck out 2. That's all he was going to do. So the Yankees said that he'll pitch in at least 5 rehab games, but he will be a big help if he can stay healthy. There's the caveat, but good that he's on the way back because they need that.
You're still looking at like a week and a half to 2 weeks until Tommy Kahnle's actually back. Weird to say, where does he slide in once he's back in this bullpen, right? Do you make him your 8th inning guy? You don't want to really move Hamilton out of that spot. Right. Do you make him like an early relief guy? Like if you have to get to the bullpen early and when, for your Clark Schmidt spots, when he goes 4 2/3, do you put him in the 5th inning? Like where is the spot that Kahnle necessarily fits in? Good problem to have, but where is the spot that he fits in?
Right. How dare you? Clark has been pitching more than that lately.
Last 2 games.
Oswaldo Peraza also played with the Tarpons. He played with them the night before as well. On Wednesday night, he was 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. He also struck out once. Boone said that Peraza will need to go through a multi-week ramp up. That will start in Tampa. He's going to play 4 or 5 innings for a few games with some off days mixed in before either being transferred to Double-A Somerset or possibly Scranton. And then he would build up to be playing full games or back-to-back days. So they're going to build him up slowly just because it's a shoulder thing. Also, Kahnle's was a shoulder injury too, and you don't really want to rush those back, especially with a pitcher. You don't want to rush that back.
Yeah, the Peraza one, I just don't know where he fits in him anymore.
Right.
You don't like to see guys get Wally pipped or, for things like this to happen, but where is there room for Peraza at this point? Where is he playing? Like, it's unfortunate to say, but especially with Birdie back healthy now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, they have the too many players problem, which
good problem to have, but
it's it's a good problem to have, but it's not good for the players. It's good for the team because you have the options, but it's not good for the individual players because what's going to happen? Also, someone that they might not have room for, DJ LeMahieu. He took batting practice at the stadium on Wednesday. Did you see him while you were there?
I did not. No, me and him didn't meet up. We usually do for a cup of coffee or something, but no, we didn't meet up.
What the heck? There's still no timetable for his return. According to Boone, he will travel with the Yankees on their upcoming road trip to play the Rays from the 10th to the 12th. So he can also take live at bats and do infield work at the team's complex in Tampa. So he'll be hanging out with Oswaldo Peraza and Tommy Kahnle.
I like that LeMahieu's doing this. I just don't know where my confidence level is in him actually returning to major league action anytime soon. Right. And taking batting practices is a great sign. I'm assuming he's still fully healthy like he was, because we never got an update that he re-injured himself or he got re-injured. We just really saw that he left the game. We never really got an injury on him. So, I'm assuming he's fully healthy, but if it's taking him this long just to get back into things, I don't have a lot of confidence in the future of LeMahieu here. I really don't. And I hate saying that because I want to see him in this lineup, but while this team gels like this, do you want to see where is there to play him? Do you want to really see him be inserted into the lineup? And how much can you expect? Are you going to get what a Peraza gives you? Are you going to get what even a Peraza gives you, right? If he gets called up, I don't know what the production level of DJ LeMahieu is at this point in his career anymore.
Right.
With the injuries and everything, I don't know what his production level is anymore.
Let's look at some comments since you guys are in here.
A lot of Soto talk in the comments. A lot of I feel like that's a constant really with the Yankees. A lot of Soto talk, and I agree with where you guys are going, especially you, Edwin. It's got to be a blank check. That's at this point. That's what it's gotten to. It's got to be blank check. I don't know if Boris is going to want to go after the Ohtani number because I don't think that's realistic. But I also can't. I don't know. I can't vision what is the amount of money that he signs for that as a Yankee fan you sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with that." Because for me, there isn't really a number. You know, like 50 million, 60 million. Is there a number where I'm perturbed? I don't think so.
Phil Hughes tweeted the other night, pay Juan Soto every dollar you have. Central Park penthouse, private jet, 24-hour private security, put a bubble around him. Everything.
Does that sound like, does that sound crazy?
No.
I mean, that's how good of a player he is.
Yeah.
That's how, I mean, and I love Aaron Judge, and we all love Aaron Judge. Don't get me wrong. There is so much more that Juan Soto does for your team than Aaron Judge does. And Aaron Judge does a lot, and he's an MVP, and he's a perennial MVP candidate. Juan Soto is a once in a generation type player. I know comments of this in every video, and you guys don't love this comment. He is the modern day Ted Williams. He is. That's exactly what he is. There is, he's one of those players you don't see a lot of them come around a lot, and they certainly don't become free agents a lot. Right? So this is one of those situations where you just got to give him whatever the heck he wants, and don't let anyone compete.
Yep. But I always joke about it, and I always say it, but back up the Brinks truck, give him anything he wants, because he's just unbelievable. Because even in the game tonight, he hits the home run. He has that infield single. He has a productive out. Then he has another hit. You know, 5 runs driven in. Just unbelievable. He could do
every at bat. It's every at bat continuously. And it's consistency, right? He'll do the same thing tomorrow and the same thing in the next series and the same. It's consistently all the time. He's hitting 340 still at this point in the season. This is where the point in the year where averages usually start to fizzle out, and his isn't doing that. He's going to stay consistent like this all year. Let's hope, speaking of tomorrow, the Yankees are able to close this series out at 5:00. Well, that's not tomorrow, later today. In what is it, 17 hours?
Yeah.
The Yankees will be back on the field. A weird start time. We talked about this earlier. Really weird start time. We'll preview game 3 and the pitching matchups coming up in the next segment. But first we got to get to an ad, as we usually do. One of my favorite ads, which is Prize Picks.
Yes, hold on.
Oh, there we go. We got it. Baseball season is over a month old, so don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entries today. Get it on the playoff action, win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you watch the world's best players from the game take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. Prize Picks is something for every sports fan, from baseball to basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You could pick Jalen Brunson, who led the Knicks to a really, really, really big Game 2 win today. Knicks now have a 2-0 series lead. You could pick Shohei Ohtani, who's now got 10 home runs to the Dodgers and is tearing the cover off the ball. Connor McDavid, who's going to win Game 1 of his series. Artemi Panarin, who led the Rangers last night with me in the building again to a 2-0 series lead against Carolina. Or Jude Bellingham, who just dragged Real Madrid into the Champions League final earlier today. So you can get all these different entries, and you can pick them in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this baseball season has become the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you test the skills, you can turn $10 into $100 with just a few taps. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, an enormous selection of players and stat types that make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for a $100 first deposit match. And also, guys, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV Channels app. Remember, Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories today with your local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. You can find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV Channels app. And remember that every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast can be caught on SiriusXM. That's download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Stacey later today at 1700 military time. We're going to get Yankees versus Astros. Ronell Blanco 3-0 with a 2.09 against Marcus Stroman with a 2-1 and a 3.41. I feel like this is a game that Marcus Stroman really gets up for, right? He gets really excited for. You're talking about a sweeping chance for the Astros to win your 10th game in a row, your last game of the season against Houston, and so you could potentially see them in a postseason series, although it's not looking like that right now. I think we both expect Houston to catch fire at some point this season. And Marcus Stroman, I think, feels the disrespect the Yankee fans feel for. Like, he feels the hatred. Maybe not. He wasn't on the team at that certain point, but Marcus Stroman's a little Yankee fan at heart, and I think he wants to go out there and perform for the Yankee faithful.
Yeah, and he wants to complete the sweep. You don't want to be the one guy that loses in a series that, and plus, I mean, the Yankees have won how many games in a row now, so you also don't want to be the guy that ends the winning streak. So hopefully he's fired up for it. His last start was 5 1/3. He gave up 1 run on 3 hits with 5 walks, 3 Ks against Detroit. He got the no decision. Blanco, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Also on May 3rd, that was against Seattle. Also a no decision. And as I just said, the Yankees are going for the sweep. And as you've said, like 4 different times on the show, a 5:05 start time. It's just really strange.
So strange. It's just who's going to be in that building? Larry's Treasures actually did leave a comment saying, Stacey, Boone said the reason for the 5:05 start was he didn't want the team landing in Tampa at 2:30 a.m. Larry, with all due respect, Boone doesn't make that call. Boone doesn't decide when the game is played. He can't go to Major League Baseball and say, listen, I'd rather play at 5 because I don't want our team landing too late.
Yeah, they don't care.
These teams land in different cities at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning all the time. So I don't think it has anything to do with Boone. And again, Boone doesn't have any. Boone can't tell Major League Baseball, I don't want them getting late, because then wouldn't he say that for every series going into a road city?
Right.
This is the only game that I've seen the Yankees play at 5. I can never remember the Yankees playing a non-playoff game at 5 o'clock. I've seen the playoff games at 5 o'clock. Non-playoffs at 5 o'clock. I can. Who's going to be there? Like, seriously, it's a Thursday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Who's going to be there?
Yeah, it's going to be like one of those, when they schedule a split doubleheader on a weekday after a rain out, and the first game has like 13 people in the stands.
That's all you can. But then the attendance at the stadium goes up and it says 45,600, and you're like, that seems a little fishy. I want to get to one more comment. Gregory Wayne said Soto's team won't talk until he reaches free agency. That's not true, because they interviewed Soto in the dugout, and Soto said out loud, when Cashman knows where to find my agent. Now, I don't know if Soto's going to be willing to. I don't know if it's Soto that won't sign a deal before free agency. Who I know won't sign a deal before free agency is Scott Boras.
Right.
Scott Boras is going to do everything imaginable to make sure that Soto does not sign prior to free agency. But listen, if he wants to be here and he loves it here, and it seems like he does, and he sees himself possibly winning a championship and ingratiating himself with the names like Mickey Mantle and Derek Jeter and Joe DiMaggio, and you hand him that blank check and give him everything he wants in the contract, maybe there's a chance Soto says yes. I don't think Hal necessarily wants to go through what he went through with Judge 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Where it comes down to the last hour and he has to call him back and offer another offer to try and keep him. I don't think he wants to do
Italy.
that.
From Italy. He called him from Italy.
The poor guy from a yacht in Italy. But the point that I'm making is, I don't think that he wants to go through that again. So if you sit Soto down and say, listen, I know your agent wants you to go to free agency. Here's $600 million. Here's a no trade clause. Here's your penthouse apartment. Here's your Bentley. Here's everything you need. And we'll put you in Monument Park if you want a championship. Soto might say, you know what? Thanks for everything, Scott Boras, but I'm going to sign the deal anyway. At the end of the day, it's Soto's responsibility. It's Soto's answer. Yeah. It's not Boras who answers it. But Soto has said out loud, he knows where to find us and he can contact us. So, I don't see why the Yankees wouldn't try. I still think he's going to reach free agency, but I can't see the Yankees not trying.
One thing before we go, they showed a stat, I believe, was it before he hit the home run or after he hit the home run? Soto was batting nearly 600 against the Astros this season in their...
Could have used that the last couple of years, but, I digress.
Yeah, right.
This is another one of those situations when we talk about, just for reference, and now that we have all our fans here and stuff, when you guys don't like that I say trading prospects, and a lot of our fans are more of what I'd call prospect huggers, right? Like, they like holding on to prospects and they like seeing these guys develop. And I hear that, but they had a chance 2 years ago to go after Juan Soto. They did. They had the opportunity and they chose not to because the package would have been too expensive. And they paid a lot less prospect-wise to get him from the Padres than the Padres paid to get him from the Nationals. But I will say, don't you like the Yankees' chances a lot more last year or the year before? Or if you would have reached out years prior against the Astros in those series if they had Juan Soto as opposed to not having Juan Soto? You got to ask yourself those questions. I get it. I know this. We don't have time. We'll do the next live show with the Spencer Jones stuff. But you never know with these prospects. And how many Yankee prospects have really panned out? And how many Juan Sotos are there? I'm just saying, guys.
Yeah. All right. We made it through a live show. We did pretty well, too.
Yeah, I agree.
It was good for the first one. We'll do this throughout the season. And
for sure.
If they make the playoffs, we'll be doing this after every game. Just so you guys know. We're going to have to, but we're going to definitely do this after every game. It's going to be fun, or maybe not, depending on how they do. Coming up on tomorrow's show, it's Fan Mail Friday. So get those questions in. There's 2 ways to do it. You can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description under our YouTube videos and a 14-day free trial. You'll get text from us and you can text us questions, or you can leave those questions under the pinned comment, also below the YouTube videos, to get your questions answered. If you join the Insiders Club, you get top priority, but we'll still answer your questions anyway if you leave them on YouTube. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you guys for Fan Mail Friday.
And hopefully we'll be able to end the stream. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining us.